Some people collect stamps, others collect coins. But Margaret collected something far more precious. She collected children. Not their bodies, of course. That would be too obvious. She collected their souls. And she kept them in the most beautiful prisons imaginable. She kept them in dolls. Amy had never met her great Aunt Margaret. The family did not speak of her. When the lawyer called to say she had inherited a mansion and everything in it, Amy was more curious than grateful. Why had her grandmother always changed the subject when Margaret's name came up? She was about to find out. The house stood at the end of a long, overgrown driveway. Victorian architecture, beautiful, but forgotten. The windows were dark. The garden was wild. As Amy walked up the crumbling steps, she felt something watching her from behind the dusty curtains. Dozens of somethings. A lawyer had mentioned a collection, but nothing could have prepared Amy for what she found. An entire room, floor to ceiling, filled with dolls. 300 of them, the lawyer said. Each one handmade by Margaret herself. And every single one of them was looking directly at Amy. Amy told herself it was just the way they were positioned, a coincidence of angles and lighting. But as she moved through the room, the eyes seemed to follow. She stopped. She stepped left. The eyes moved with her. She stepped right. They followed. Amy's heart began to pound. One doll stood apart from the others. On a pedestal in the center of the room, behind glass, sat the most beautiful and the most unsettling doll Amy had ever seen. A brass plate read, Elizabeth, 1863. The doll's blue eyes were different from the others. They were not empty. They were angry. Amy decided to stay in the mansion just for one night to sort through the paperwork. She chose a bedroom far from the doll room. She locked the door. But at 3 in the morning, she heard it. Tiny footsteps in the hallway. The soft sound of porcelain on wood coming closer. In the morning, Amy told herself it was a dream. But when she opened the doll room, her blood ran cold. The dolls had moved. All of them. They were no longer on their shelves. They were gathered in the center of the room, arranged in a circle, all facing outward. And Elizabeth's case was open. Amy found Margaret's diary in the study. The entries started normal enough, but as she read further, the words grew darker. I have found a way to keep them forever, Margaret had written. Their bodies may fade, but their souls will live on in my children. They will never leave me. They cannot leave me. A diary told a horrifying story. Margaret had been a medium, a spiritualist who claimed to communicate with the dead. But she had done more than communicate. She had trapped them. Children who died in the village, their souls captured before they could move on, imprisoned in porcelain bodies for eternity. Elizabeth had been the first, a little girl who died of fever in 1863. Margaret had loved her. She could not bear to let her go, so she kept her. And once she learned how, she kept others. The village children who died, the orphans no one would miss. 300 souls, trapped for over a century. That night, the dolls did not just move. They spoke. Amy woke to whispers filling the house. "Free us," they said. "We want to go home. Please, we have been here so long." The whispers came from everywhere and nowhere. 300 voices crying in the dark. But not all the dolls wanted freedom. Elizabeth had been trapped the longest. The anger had consumed her. She had forgotten what it meant to be free. She had become the guardian of the collection, keeping the others in line. And she did not want Amy interfering with her family. Amy tried to leave. She grabbed her keys, ran for the door. But the dolls were faster. They swarmed from every room, blocking her path. Elizabeth stood at the front, her porcelain face twisted into something almost human, almost smiling. "You are not leaving," the doll said. "You are the new collector now." But Amy had read the diary to the end. She knew how Margaret had bound the souls, and she knew how to free them. Fire. The dolls could not survive fire, but burning them would mean destroying the children inside. She would be freeing them or murdering them. She had seconds to decide. Amy lit the diary. The flames caught fast, spreading to the nearest doll. Elizabeth screamed, a sound no porcelain should make. But as the fire spread, something else happened. Light began to rise from the burning dolls. Small glowing forms. Children, finally free, rising towards something Amy could not see. Elizabeth was the last. The flames had taken all the others, but she remained, crawling toward Amy with hate in her glass eyes. Then she stopped. Her expression changed. The anger faded, replaced by something Amy had not expected. Peace. A child's voice whispered, "Thank you." And Elizabeth was gone. The mansion burned to the ground. Amy stood in the driveway, watching the flames consume over a century of trapped souls. The fire department found nothing inside but ash and molten glass. 300 dolls destroyed. 300 children finally at rest. Amy never told anyone the truth about what happened that night. She said it was an electrical fire. Old wiring. The insurance paid. She donated the money to a children's hospital. It seemed right. Sometimes she dreams of glass eyes watching her. But in the dreams, they are not angry. They are grateful. So the next time you see an antique doll in a shop window, look closely at its eyes. Ask yourself why it was sold. Ask yourself what might be trapped inside. Some collections are beautiful. Some collections are prisons. And some collectors never stop collecting. Sweet dreams.